Looks like the Bears have made a trade. They've acquired the second pick in the National Football League draft from the 49ers. All right, so what does this mean, boys?
No one saw this one coming, huh?
There's only two names. I mean, it's either Deshaun Watson or Solomon Thomas, because that's the two names people have associated with the 49ers. I think, we'll see, maybe I'm wrong, but it's one of the two.
So the Bears are on the clock with 4.5 minutes to go. So you guys a little shocked?
I thought they'd be going down, not up at all. This is very shocking.
I tell you, we just talked about, I said, is Ryan Pace nervous now that Roger Goodell has come to the podium to start the draft? Now, Hub, you said, and Jeff and Dan, you said this guy's pretty tightened up, and he knows what he's confident in.
Yeah, well, and this, I don't have my chart in front of me, but this shouldn't cost much going from 3 to 2. It should be, one other pick, maybe a third. I don't know what it is, but
maybe one of their fourth-round picks.
I'm not sure. It's such a narrow move. I wish I had the chart in front of me.
What's interesting to me, though, is I think a lot of people were very confused over who the 49ers would take at number 2. We talked earlier. Is it Leonard Fournette? Some people said Trubisky at some point. Hub, you just mentioned Watson, Solomon Thomas. I've seen Jamal Adams in that spot. So the Bears must have known something or suspected something about who the 49ers would take and figured that was a guy that they wanted.
But would the 49ers trade to the Bears if they figured the Bears were kind of hot on a prospect that they wanted?
Not if I'm right and they want Leonard Fournette, because that they don't have to worry about with the Bears. So it makes it easy for them to go down one spot. But that would assume I'm right, which is a long shot. So, we'll see.
Well, interesting to say the least, and I'll be curious at exactly what they gave up. But he pulled 4 trades in last year's draft. He's certainly not afraid to do it. I believe he had 0 in his first draft, but he's got a plan, and this plan is being executed.
Well, what if he trades it again? What if he takes number 2 now and trades it back down?
It gives us more to talk about.
I would listen.
What happens if he took...
Wait, wouldn't you listen?
For sure.
Of course, yeah.
For sure.
What happens if he took Mitch Trubisky and then dangled him out in front of Jacksonville and the other teams that wanted him?
Oh, wow. This is interesting. I truly want to know what he had to give up.
Here's the terms right here.
There we go.
Third round pick, number 67, the 111th overall pick, and a third round in 2018.
Wow.
That's quite a bit.
That's a lot.
367, 111, and a third rounder next year.
I don't have the chart, but I think they overpaid.
Well, I'll say this too. The Bears are really not in a good position to be doing that because they need numbers. This is a deep draft. I hope whoever they're trading up for is worth it because they gave up a lot.
Yeah, then he's high on their board then, and they can't be a can't miss. This has to be a player they just feel like they had to have, obviously.
That is a ton to move up one spot.
Not only a player they had to have, but a player they were certain was going to be chosen by the 49ers.
Yeah. Right, and we've talked this whole evening so far that we felt like there weren't certain players that were 1, 2, and 3. There were just ones that were made 1 through 7. You could even slide down in the first round and find more guys.
Are there any guys that Vic coached with who are still in San Francisco? I haven't really looked at their staff.
Well, I just read the head coach at Stanford, Shaw, says the systems are very similar. They still have contact with each other. Solomon Thomas would be that guy. I know Fangio loves this guy. And the Bears...
with 1 minute left, Solomon Thomas would be on the telephone if the Bears were calling.
I'm with you, Tom, watching that as well.
Yeah.
I think this could be another retrade.
I don't think you needed to go to 2 to get Solomon
Pick is in.
Pick is in. Out.
Well, we're a little behind with the screen we got up here, or a little ahead, or whatever is the case may be. But Myles Garrett, the first pick, Bears move with San Francisco. And they give up quite a bit in terms of... Can I see that again? It was a third and a fourth.
The third overall, overall, third and fourth this year, and a fourth in 18.
So 367, 111, and then a 2018 third round pick to move up one spot. Ryan Pace and the Bears. We're on the edge of our seat here to know exactly who this pick might be. Do they have another surprise?
I just got a text.
It better satisfy their asking.
Here's the commissioner.
Here's the commissioner.
The Chicago Bears select Mitchell Trubisky, quarterback, North Carolina.
Hello.
Mitchell Trubisky, quarterback, North Carolina. After waiting for his chance, Trubisky thrived as the Tar Heels starting quarterback. He completed 68% of his passes, throwing for 30 touchdowns and just 6 interceptions. Trubisky has excellent pocket mobility and can extend the play with his feet. He has a great ability to read coverages and a strong arm to make plays.
Look out!
reloads to the end zone. Touchdown!
Despite the limited experience, Trubisky has earned his place in the first round.
All right, so pick up your jaws and start talking.
I just hope Pat nailed it. I hope they
traded for the Browns?
Deal him to the Browns, yeah, because, I can't take back what I've been saying for the last 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, we'll see what kind of football player is, but they didn't have to do that, and that's what's so stunning about it.
Pat?
I'm just shocked. I mean, now if he sticks with the Bears, Ryan Pace has tied his career with the Bears with Mitchell Trubisky. There was a point when we drafted Cade McNown, and there were a few assistant coaches when Cade was not playing well, and they just kept saying, that guy's going to get me fired. That guy's going to get me fired. I didn't understand it as a young guy, but now I understand it. When you draft a quarterback this high, you're tied into it as a head coach and a general manager. And, I hope he works out. And if he stays a Bear, then those accuracy things I talked about, I think he has those intangibles to make him a better quarterback in the NFL. But, again, he only has 13 games, and we'll see how his development goes.
I think by choosing him second overall, you put a lot of pressure on the young man. You're talking about a guy who's been a starter for only one season, could not beat out an inferior quarterback in his previous 2 years at North Carolina. He has not played under center. He's got to learn a pro offense. The people I speak with think he's going to be a project. I don't know. I'm not crazy about this pick, guys.
I don't think he'll be here. I think that he'll be traded somewhere else, and they're going to get the picks back that they had to give up to get in position to get Trubisky.
They just gave up too much to do this. There was no need to do that, and that's why Tom. I mean, that's got to be it. They got to be on Cleveland's got to be calling now. They got to be, and it doesn't have to be right now. Somewhere between now and 12. Because now they've got plenty of time for Cleveland to sit there and think about what they want to do. They've got a couple hours now to see if they can make a deal with the Browns.
Wow. But they would have had some sort of an arrangement.
Can I just, because there's people in the crowd that are asking, I did not bring any pencils tonight. Okay, didn't bring them. Not going to happen. It's
not yet, at least.
All right, so let's break him down a little further. 6'2" and an eighth, 220. Assuming he remains with the Bears. He is a good athlete. He ran well. He himself says, that's an underrated aspect of his game, that he is more mobile than you might consider for a pocket passer like him. He does have tape that shows him showing some good feel in the pocket, awareness. But again, most of the routes, the short timing, screens, that type of offensive system in his 13 starts, he does say, hey, I did play in 31 games. I may not have started 31 games, as he tries to, give himself a little bit of an edge in this conversation as well. But by and large, like all these kids, a system quarterback coming out of college.
Let me ask you guys something. Would you have traded a first-round pick, 2 third-round picks, and a fourth for Jimmy Garoppolo ahead of Mitch Trubisky?
That's a great question.
How about Kirk Cousins? Would you have tried that? Maybe they did try it. We don't know. But
I'm not. I still feel I want that quarterback that is going to be an elite quarterback for the Bears for the future. I think Kirk Cousins is a good pro quarterback, but he's not a guy that's going to have sustained success for the Bears for the next 10 years. Is Mitchell Trubisky? I have no idea. Like we said, he only has 13 games, but the Jimmy Garoppolo question, possibly. Yeah, possibly. I mean, if they think that highly of him in New England, then possibly.
All right, we'll assume they're going to keep Trubisky. I would have rather had Garoppolo just for his experiences that he's already had in the NFL. Even though he's had a limited amount of practice time, like the Senior Bowl, the Bears had a chance to be on the field with he as a preparation quarterback when they were in New England this past training camp. They probably know more about him. But, again, I still think because both the expression on Joran Hub's face when you saw the amount that the Bears gave up for this trade, it automatically made me think that if they weren't taking a player that they needed to jump in front of a lot of teams for, that this was a player that they were making, and there's a preconceived deal with someone that they can get their picks back.
Here's the other question you got to ask yourself. Why would you give Mike Glennon $19 million if this is what you were going to do? Granted, he's not going to play the first year, but you could have played Mark Sanchez. You could have kept Jay Cutler. You could have done a lot of things. They obviously, and I believed Ryan when he told us, there's things that they like about Mike Glennon. What if Mike Glennon turns out to be a really good quarterback and you just wasted the second overall pick on your backup? There's too much that doesn't add up here. There's something missing.
Can you give me one more point? And then we're going to take a break. Go ahead.
I would say this is not like drafting a guard where he becomes part of the competition. This is where you can bring in a quarterback, if you do intend to keep him, that you can make the quarterback room kind of unsettled. Because now Mike Glennon's going to be looking over his shoulder because you traded up in the draft to get a guy that is obviously going to be the heir apparent to that one position. It's not multiple positions on the team that you can play right or left guard. It's one quarterback, and now you got to understand what type of influence Mike Glennon will be because it's not his responsibility to grow Trubisky.
All right. Ryan Pace at the end of the season said they will tend to the quarterback position. They bring in Glennon and draft Mitchell Trubisky with the second pick in the NFL draft. As we break it down here for you on 670 The Score, the pick is in for San Francisco. Can we wait for it? Are we going to wait for it right here, see what the 49ers now will do after trading with the Bears, picking up a third and a fourth this year? Of course, this third pick overall, and then a pick in 2018.
Well, what I started to say as Goodell came to the point was I got a text from somebody very close who is very smart but also a passionate Bears fan. Before they announced what they did with the pick, the text was, let me get it back here, it's official, I hate the Bears. And that was before they made the pick. It's just somebody, not me, but that's kind of what's going on in Bears Nation right now.
49ers pick is in. We're waiting Roger Goodell here in just a second. Mitchell Trubisky out of Menor, Ohio, a fourth-year junior out of North Carolina with 13 career starts. And it'll be an interesting conversation as the night wears on and see what else Ryan Pace has up his sleeve with the 49ers needing just about... go ahead, Pat.
Jeff, I'll give you a little scouting report. I watched UNC. I went to Duke. Obviously, I hate UNC, but he lost to Duke. He lost to Duke because the defensive coordinator at Duke threw some complex blitzes at him, and he struggled with that. Duke did the same thing to Deshaun Kaiser, confused him, and struggled with that. So he is behind in that regard. There were some complex blitzes that a young quarterback, because he'd only played a limited number of games, couldn't pick it up. So he's going to need a lot of time to figure out these defensive coordinators in the NFL.
And he'll have the time.
We should say this, though, too. This kid has a lot of potential. Yeah. And if he ends up realizing that potential, this is going to be remembered as a great pick.